Hey everybody, this is Felipe over at Rock Out Loud Studio. So recently I've been seeing several ads pop up here and there for an affordably priced Telecaster style guitar by a company called Glarry. It was such an attractive price point that I guess curiosity got the better of me. I found this guitar for $67, $70 on Temu, but you can also purchase this guitar straight from Glarry Guitars. I'll leave the link down below. You know, as a guitar teacher, sometimes I do have parents come up to me and ask, hey, what's a good electric guitar for my child to start learning how to play that it'd be a decent instrument at a price point that won't break the bank? And so I started doing some research. When I started playing, options were limited to maybe Squire guitars, Epiphone guitars, maybe Ibanez. But fast forward to today, if you do some research online, you have tons of manufacturers pumping out guitars at affordable price points. How much guitar can you get for about 70 bucks? The first thing I noticed from a visual standpoint, it's not a bad looking guitar. I think it's pretty cool looking actually. I like the color. I don't see any obvious dings or scratches on the finish. It looks pretty good. It's got its plastic covering on the pick guard and on the pickups there. Everything looks nice and clean. The knobs feel substantial. They don't feel like they're gonna fall apart. The selector switch has a nice little click to it. It feels sturdy. The bridge looks sturdy. Everything looks pretty good. I like the maple neck. It feels nice and soft. It feels like a very thin, maybe satin type of finish. Although I will say that the neck feels like a baseball bat. Hey, 70 bucks. Can't really complain, right? I do see maybe like a little tiny imperfections in the neck pocket. Maybe small little blotches of paint there. But the neck at least does seem nice and tight in the neck pocket to the body. That's good. The tuners look okay. The tuners look all right. I did notice as I was tuning the guitar, some of them did snag a little bit. But what I was curious about is how well can this guitar play right out of the box? Keep in mind, you know, someone who wants to learn how to play the guitar, maybe they don't know much about doing guitar setup. You know, it's ideal when you are purchasing an instrument to learn that you have something that plays pretty decently right out of the box. I've got a clean setting down there with maybe a dash of reverb. But you know what? Let's take off the reverb. Let's see what the guitar itself actually sounds like, just straight. Let's go ahead and check out the middle pickup position. Now let's check out the bridge position. Not too bad. This guitar could benefit from a little attention to detail in the setup work. Maybe just a little bit of an intonation adjustment there. Some of the chords sound a little off to me, even though the guitar is in tune. But that's normal, even on the higher price point guitars. You might have an instrument that right out of the box just needs a little bit of love, that's all. I'm looking at the how the neck felt, and even though this is a thicker neck, it didn't feel terrible to me. It's something that I feel like I can get used to. What is important to me are things like frets, right? Fret sprout, which is when you have a little bit of the frets not properly filed down. And so you have a little bit left over, and so that kind of snags at your fingers, and it's a little uncomfortable to play. But on this guitar, you don't have that. So thank you, Glarry, for at least paying attention to detail on that. There is a little bit of scratchiness to the frets themselves. They're a little scratchy, but it's okay. These guitars are probably just hanging out at a warehouse somewhere for extended periods of time. That's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my tube screamer for a second, my little overdrive pedal. Let's try and listen to some of the overdrive tones. Yeah, I can definitely hear the scratchiness of the frets whenever I try to do some vibrato stuff, but yeah, like right there. So my expectation, I set it at a healthy low level, just for my sake, okay? But I must say that the more that I play the instrument, it's really fun. I think I will go and do some setup work on this instrument and then come back and let's see what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're back. I went ahead and did some setup work on the guitar. There were some things that I found that weren't really to my liking. I started off with checking out the neck. The neck did have some overbowing. It was bowing up, and it didn't have any relief at all, so I went ahead and adjusted the truss rod. I went ahead and installed all new strings, my favorites, D'Addario strings on there. And then from there, I did adjustments to the action. I checked the intonation, polished the frets, did a couple of other things. I had to do a little bit of sanding on the string slots here, on the nut slots. It's still a little high. It still feels a little high, so I need to go ahead and take a little bit more time to correct some things there. But I feel like overall, it feels a lot better to play, in my opinion. So let's check it out. Decent sustain on there. Let's try the middle pickup. And finally, let's try out the bridge. Let's try a little bit of overdrive. Back to the neck pickup. Okay guys, that's just a kind of a first look at this instrument. Now that I've had some time with it and made some adjustments to it, I guess I would say if you are a young beginner and you're just starting to learn how to play the guitar, I think it's very important to have an instrument that is at least consistent. It'll stay in tune, it'll play well without really the need to modify or make too many adjustments. I really appreciate whenever an instrument just comes relatively playable out of the box. With this particular one that I received, at least, that wasn't the case. There were several things that I found that needed some attention. I might make a video where I do some modifications to the guitar. I still think the neck is a little too thick. Maybe Glarry can kind of look into that, or offering different guitars with the different neck radiuses. After doing some sanding here at the nut slots here, it does help the tuning stability a little bit. I had to do some intonation work to the saddles here. The pickups are a little microphonic, meaning that they pick up a lot of handling noise. These are just some observations that I'm making from this instrument. Again, at $70, can I complain too much? Well, no, not terribly. I think that after making the setup, some little tweaks here and there, I think it definitely plays above what you would expect a $70 guitar to play like. Anyway, guys, that's just my takeaway from the Glarry GTL Telecaster style guitar. I think this was a fun purchase. I think I'm gonna have lots of fun modifying it and really seeing if I can push it beyond its $70 price tag. So let me know if you guys have this guitar, if you've purchased one of the I think they have several color options, and I might buy another one just to have a different color. Let me know if you have this guitar. Let me know if you've done any mods to this guitar, and let's start a little conversation down below. All right, thank you guys so much, and I will catch you on another video. Bye-bye.